Welcome back to another clay video. Today, we are going to create Gigantamax Meowth from Pokemon. Let's begin with some wire, and this will be to make the armature. I don't think I've ever made a full body armature before, so it was definitely a learning experience. And what I learned the most is that I do not want to make a full body armature again. I do appreciate that the wire makes the figure a lot stronger and it's a lot easier to make it stand up, but it was so hard to smooth all of the clay on it, and it took forever working with the wires. So if I can, I would like to avoid this in the future. This is some Milliput, which is a two-part putty. When we mix the two different sections together, then it's able to dry out in the air. After 4 hours, here is the result. Hard as a rock. Now let's create the base, which is also a rock. Before we get too far into the creation, I want to let you know there is a poll, and you can help decide which Gigantamax Pokemon will be created next. You can find a link to this poll in the description of this video. When I was looking at some pictures of Gigantamax Meowth, I saw this cool one from the anime where he must have just slammed down on the ground because there's this big dust cloud and rocks shooting all over the place, and I thought it looked pretty cool, so I wanted to create this scene. Now we can use our trusty toothbrush. This is not the one that I use to brush my teeth. This is really nice for texturing rocks. It makes a bunch of little holes and scratches everywhere and just looks a bit more realistic. After baking the base, we can start creating the feet. And we don't have to worry about the details on the feet too much because we won't really see them. They'll be covered up by the dust cloud and the debris flying all over the place. But we still want to give them some detail. Now using the armature, we can figure out where the feet need to be exactly on the base, and we can mix the color for Meowth. Starting with the legs, we can split the clay in half and sort of wrap it around the wire. I find this to be the easiest way to coat wire. It's not exactly easy and it takes a pretty long time to get it smooth, but for me it seems to be the easiest way. We can put the legs into the feet and we can start working on the body. The armature was actually really unstable at this point and kept falling over, so I ended up gluing the legs into the feet. And I don't really know if super glue can go into the oven, but it's going to be covered up by some other clay, so I think it will be fine. In the picture I was looking at, Meowth is sort of bending over, ready to attack, so I wanted to go for that pose instead of standing straight up. This will blend the feet and the legs together, and after this step, it stood up just fine by itself. Now we can start working on the arms. This is created exactly the same as the legs. We can also take a little piece and put it right in the middle to blend everything together. On the top of the arms, we need to remove just a little bit so we can create the hands. I've been avoiding creating hands for a pretty long time on figures, because I just really do not like creating hands and they never really end up too good, but these ones aren't really too detailed, so I don't think it will be too bad. I'm using these 3 balls to create the paws. And as you can see, there's a bit of a gap between the arm and the paw, so we have to fill that in with some extra clay. And just using our finger, we can blend everything together. And it looks pretty good, so let's move on to creating the head. Starting with the mouth, I'm just cutting out the shape of the mouth, instead of doing a fully opened up mouth. A lot of the pictures I saw, Meowth had this face, so I thought it would be easier to just go with that. And for the eyes, I'm just going to create circles, but then use the modeling tool to get them into the proper shape. We have a little black outline just around the top of the eyes, which I think just makes the eyes pop out a bit better. If you're unfamiliar with what a Gigantamax Pokemon is, it's basically just a massive version of a Pokemon. Pretty similar to Mega Evolution. On the ears, we have this little black outline. and we can place those onto the head. Next we have the whiskers, and we have 2 of these on each side. Luckily these are small enough that we didn't need to use any wires, but the 2 big ones on top of the head, I put some small wires in just to make sure that they stand up straight. With some golden clay we can create the coin for the front of Meowth's head, and I'm creating 3 of these just in case I mess up on the drawing pattern since it's pretty complex. For the last body part of Meowth we have the tail. We'll combine these 2 pieces together, and now we can create the Dynamax cloud. These 3 clouds always appear above Pokemon when they Dynamax or Gigantamax, and we can attach these using some wires to make them look like they're floating in the air. One final detail before baking, we need to create some rocks just by cutting this clay into some random chunks. And now, we are ready to get baked. After baking, we can start assembling everything using some super glue. I forgot to make a hole in the head with a wire, so I had to use the drill. Now we have the tail, and using the thumbtack, we'll create the little holes in the figure, and this will be for the wires. And I've also made a hole into the clouds so they can go right onto the wire. And that looks pretty good, so let's start working on the coin. As you can see, it is a pretty complicated pattern. I'm using this paint marker, and surprisingly, it actually worked out the first time. I am not very good at drawing or painting, so I was pretty surprised I was able to get this looking pretty good. Now using some wool, this is sort of a dirty mixture of wool. I think it looks really good for the dust cloud. And we can glue that onto the base. And we'll just randomly put some rocks into it to sort of make it look like they're flying in the air, but I'm also sticking some wires into the base. And this will make it so the rocks are flying much higher in the air, and I think it just has a really cool 3D effect to it. And that is our final detail. So, here it is, Gigantamax Meowth from Pokemon. I hope you all enjoyed the creation of Gigantamax Meowth. Make sure you're joining the poll to help decide which Gigantamax Pokemon I will be creating next. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.